From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Go Donald, we're here for you.
Hundreds of Trump supporters gather in Tempe as the presidential nominee's son headlines another rally.
Plus, what Sheriff Joe Arpaio's lawyers are now asking of the federal court following his official contempt of court charge.
And a simple homemade necklace means so much for terminally ill patients. But Beads of Courage needs your help so they can continue encouraging these children.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Danielle Kernkamp.
And I'm Veronica Acosta. Thanks for joining us.
One of Donald Trump's biggest supporters was back in the Valley this afternoon. Donald Trump Jr. spoke to a crowd of about 500 at ASU's main campus in Tempe. Alexa Stukrath is live with the details from attendees. Alexa?
Donald Trump Jr. only spoke to the crowd here for about 10 minutes, but what he said really did seem to resonate with those who were here.
But you know why he did this? Because he loves this country. He loves the American dream. He loves what that stands for, and he wants to make sure that all Americans, of all ethnicities, all backgrounds, have the same opportunity that he had.
The crowd chanted several times, "Drain the swamp and lock her up," during the speech. Donald Trump Jr. touched on big government and our economy. He also bashed Hillary Clinton for not doing enough to create jobs. I talked to several people before the rally who are concerned about employment.
You know, jobs. We need jobs in this country.
I think young people in the workforce, because that's his audience, and I'm sure a lot of them are going to be wondering, what their future is going to be like, especially with the next term of presidency coming up, so I believe that's important.
Donald Jr. also announced that his father is not yet done here in Arizona. His campaign is currently scouting locations for yet another rally in Phoenix for this Saturday. Live in Tempe, Alexa Stukrath, Cronkite News.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio spoke just before Trump Jr. at the rally, in his first public appearance since he was officially charged for criminal contempt of court. Arpaio strongly supports Trump, but also appeared to criticize how the nominee is handling the media during his campaign.
My daughter went to ASU many years ago. She took a great degree called journalism. She teaches me everything I want to know. I'm going to try to get Donald Trump to learn some lessons from her.
An update on his contempt of court case. Arpaio's lawyers want U.S. District Judge Murray Snow to recuse himself from all future proceedings. Arpaio's attorney, Charles Cooper, said Snow has, quote, engaged in improper, private, off-the-record meetings and communications about the merits of the case with the court-appointed monitor. They also filed a motion to remove the monitor from the case. Arpaio has said that his case will not keep him from taking office if he is re-elected. Arpaio's trial is scheduled for December 6th in Phoenix. If convicted, the misdemeanor offense would not bar him from serving his 7th term. There was a breach in the 911 emergency system this week that sent a flux of hang-up phone calls to departments around the state and possibly in other states. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office arrested Meet Kumar Hitesh Bhai Desai, who is accused of creating a link where users could click and call 911. There were almost 2,000 clicks on the link, but authorities were able to shut it down before losing service to their system.
Hillary Clinton unveiled a plan today to reduce bullying. The plan would provide $500 million in new funding to states that develop anti-bullying efforts. States could get $4 from the federal government for every $1 they spend. It would be paid for through Clinton's proposed tax increases on the wealthy. Hillary Clinton and First Lady Michelle Obama held a rally in North Carolina where Hillary addressed deeper issues on the ballot.
But indeed, dignity and respect for women and girls is also on the ballot in this election. And I want to thank our First Lady for her eloquent, powerful defense of that basic value.
The First Lady took the stage after Clinton and said that it is usually unprecedented for a sitting First Lady to be so involved in a campaign, but said she was active because this was an unprecedented election. Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton is in Mexico City for the opening of new trade office. The goal, increase cross-border business with Mexico. Jamie Flores explains why this trip is important for Arizona.
The mayor and the Phoenix delegation met with Mexican Senator Gabriela Cuevas, chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Mayor Stan is traveling with a delegation of about 30 business leaders. The mayor sent us this comment from Mexico City.
But as leader of Phoenix, along with the business community, our message is we're moving forward with this relationship. Our exporting to Mexico is increasing faster than any other community in the United States of America. That's a very positive thing for the people of Phoenix.
Mexico is Arizona's largest trading partner. Last year, Arizona exported more than $9 billion to Mexico. That's just a tiny fraction of what other border states like Texas and California sell to Mexico. The new trade office in Mexico City will help link businesses here in Phoenix with new opportunities in Mexico. The top exports for Arizona now are electronic and computer products, as well as agricultural goods. In Phoenix, Jamie Flores, Cronkite News.
This year's Senate race is not even over, but one politician is already looking to the race in 2018. Kelly Ward announced that she aims to take on Senator Jeff Flake during his re-election bid. Ward announced on her radio show that she is, quote, going to take on the establishment once again. Political experts said a 2018 race would be an uphill battle for Ward, and Flake's office said the senator will be prepared for capable challengers in both the primary and general election.
Latino turnout has been low in past elections, but a new poll found a majority of the registered voters surveyed plan to cast ballots for president.
The poll just released by the National Council of La Raza, or NCLR, surveyed 2,000 Latino registered voters between October 7th through the 19th. The margin of error is plus or minus 3%. With early voting underway in Arizona, the NCLR poll shows a majority of Latino registered voters are likely to cast a ballot. 88% of registered voters said they definitely will vote, 10% said they probably will vote, and 2% told pollsters they definitely will not vote. And the poll also asked about presidential preferences. 70% of Latinos say they will vote for Clinton, 17% prefer Trump, 7% are undecided, and 5% plan to vote for someone else. Latino groups in Arizona are among those who work to register more young voters. Millennials make up nearly half of the registered Latino voters eligible to cast ballots this election. And 74% of Latino millennial voters polled said that a candidate's plan to combat student debt will be a major influence in determining who they support. Yesenia Beltran, Cronkite News.
Netflix and social media have been integrated in the younger generation.
So much so, it can be hard to get kids to pick up a book outside of school. Coming up on Cronkite News, a program that gets kids to hit the books even when they're not at school.
Plus, science is full of new frontiers, but how do Arizona schools fare in teaching it? New details from a national education report.
I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. All my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now.
Tickets are now available for the annual Walter Cronkite Award for Excellence in Journalism Luncheon, held Monday, November 21st at the Sheraton Grand Phoenix. Join media industry and community leaders in honoring this year's recipient, award-winning journalist and CBS Evening News anchor Scott Pelley. The annual Walter Cronkite Award for Excellence in Journalism Luncheon. cronkite.asu.edu/luncheon.
New data on national science achievement shines a bright light on Arizona. Cronkite News' Claire Caulfield is in Washington, D.C. with more on STEM education.
I'm here with a space toilet at the Smithsonian because one of the most asked questions by kids is, how do astronauts go to the bathroom in space? It's this kind of natural curiosity that science teachers are trying to foster with more hands-on learning. The National Assessment of Education Progress released its science report card today, and researchers cited engaged learning as a reason science test scores are rocketing up around the nation. The report had especially good news for Arizona. The state's fourth grade science scores increased more than any other state from 2009 to 2015, and eighth grade scores increased as well. Arizona is also a leader in closing the gap between white and Hispanic students. But it wasn't all good news. Despite large gains, Arizona is still below the national average on all scores, and nationally, 12th grade scores haven't risen at all since 2009.
We especially have to look at the high school level courses and ask ourselves, how are we nurturing that interest and how do we rethink the way we're providing education?
The panel at the Air and Space Museum suggested more classroom involvement from professional scientists and a focus on creating lifelong learners.
It's more than just having kids do activities. It's important for students to have an engineering design challenge or having to explain a science phenomena will engage students to have the critical thinking that they need.
In Washington, D.C., Claire Caulfield, Cronkite News.
Students and parents alike know about summer break, summer vacation, but what about the summer slide? Summer slide is when grade students struggle after coming back from break. Jesse Canales joins us live to tell us about how one summer reading program is trying to change that.
I'm out here outside a Cronkite library where college students hit the books year-round. But for younger kids, sometimes it keeps a game to make sure they keep up with the reading. That's why Maricopa County Library District creating a program to keep kids reading over the summer.
Twilight was gathering, and Orpheus wasn't here.
Sienna Skillstad is 10 years old.
Dustfinger had been staring at it.
She began reading at a young age.
But his limbs simply would not keep still.
And hasn't stopped since. She reads a lot.
Ferret's heart beats faster. I discovered the 40-book challenge. I was like, yes, I get to read.
Sienna took the challenge from Maricopa County Library District's summer reading program a few years back. It was created to help stop the summer slide, where teachers had to reteach skills lost over summer break.
Our data has shown us that if kids continue to read 20 minutes a day throughout the summer, they end up with the same reading comprehension or even better reading comprehension by the beginning of the next school year.
The ghost would begin to whisper.
And librarians hope that, like Sienna, the students won't stop reading once the program ends. Sienna and her mom even created their own bigger challenge.
We had 10 books to read during the summer, and she did about, I'd say, 14, 15 books.
So many books stack up to a higher reading level for this 5th grader.
About 7th, 8th grade reading level.
We were both searching for the same villain.
Her mother says Sienna's language and grammar skills have improved thanks to all that reading.
So many books.
And her latest report card, all A's.
All 62 libraries in the Maricopa County are part of the summer reading program, which begins again next June. Sienna and her mother say she will definitely be a part of it next time around. From the Cronkite Library, Jessica Canales, Cronkite News.
It's a simple strand of beads.
But for terminally ill children, the beads symbolize hope and courage. Coming up on Cronkite News, why Beads of Courage needs your help to keep the tradition alive.
We could see a couple records fall in the weather department over the next couple of days. Will that trend continue to melt your Halloween candy? I have the answer when Cronkite News returns.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm always searching to feel like I fit into something.
We are the people that we are because of our past.
I'm just one of many who stopped being silent.
They said the fight would break us, the struggle helped to make who we are.
It's just proof of how far we have come.
Make sure in all the hustle and bustle, we don't lose sight of why we're here.
It all boils down to communicating the lives we live.
If you look closely, they've got a story to tell.
connects with you in a very deep way.
We wish you love, peace, and soul.
Come with us on this great adventure.
For years, the federal government has been trying to close a Tucson mail processing center and relocate operations to Phoenix. But city officials and Representative Martha McSally are fighting back. Today, McSally and North Carolina Representative Mark Meadows met to discuss the future of the Cherry Belle Mail Processing Center. Meadows heads the House subcommittee that oversees the U.S. Postal Service. McSally and city officials say the closing of the center is unnecessary, would impact the workforce, and would result in delayed mail. This would heavily affect seniors and veterans who rely on the mail for their medications. The Postal Service says the close is necessary to save money.
Attorney General Mark Brnovich announced today that the state of Arizona will get a little over $1 million as a part of a settlement with Hyundai and Kia. The $41.2 million multi-state settlement was made to resolve claims that the companies misrepresented the mileage and fuel economy ratings for their model year 2011, 2012, and 2013 vehicles.
Today, Twitter announced that it's cutting 9% of its employees worldwide. In addition to the employee cut, Twitter also said in a statement that they are discontinuing their popular app, Vine. Twitter has recently been struggling against other social media competition. Since the end of 2014, Twitter expanded by 15 million monthly users. In that same time frame, Facebook gained 319 million monthly users. Most Arizonans would agree it's just too hot for the last week of October.
And it turns out this was a record-breaking day. Tyler Klaus is in the Weather Center.
Veronica, we actually broke 2 different records today. We broke the new daily high record, and we broke even a bigger record, the latest ever to hit 100 degrees. That record was originally October 23rd, but now since we did hit 100 degrees right about 2:30 this afternoon, it is today for the latest day we've ever hit 100 degrees. As we take a look at that almanac for today, 100 degrees as the high, but our low actually was 70 degrees, and that was 1 degree off being a record high low. Our average for this time of year is well lower, about 84 degrees for our high, and there's that old record of 98 degrees set back in 2001. As we take a look at temperatures across the valley, we have 99 degrees here in Phoenix, 69 degrees up in the Grand Canyon, and 95 degrees down in Tucson. As we take a look at our map, we do have some clouds around in the valley. That's thanks to this weather system that's off the coast of California. Over the next couple days, that will try to work its way here in Phoenix. We won't see really any rain, but we'll see a lot more cloud cover, which will help bring our temperatures down. But that temperature drop won't happen throughout the weekend. On Saturday and Sunday, we still see 94 and 93 degrees. And on Monday for Halloween, we start to see a break at 85 degrees for your trick-or-treating weather. We see 83 degrees right about 6 p.m. with clouds moving in. But then on Tuesday and Wednesday, we drop down to normal. And then Thursday, 85 degrees with sunny skies. Tyler Klaus, Cronkite Weather.
For children diagnosed with serious illness, every treatment puts them to the test physically and emotionally. One organization is helping those children tell their stories and celebrate those milestones through Beads of Courage.
Whenever you get like chemotherapy, you get a needle poke, or stay in the hospital, you can look forward for a bead.
Abby Kuhnman is one of many children around the world who has received a bead every time she reaches a milestone in her battle with cancer through Beads of Courage.
My favorites are the bumpies because I like them. They're pretty and I like the texture.
Over 60,000 children in 8 different countries receive beads through Beads of Courage to help them cope with their illness.
When you bear witness to courage every day, you want to acknowledge that. And so beads came about as a way to acknowledge tangibly the courage that you witness every day.
The most special are handmade by bead artists, something that the organization needs more of.
So right now our organization is truly experiencing a bead shortage, which is frightening when you're Beads of Courage. We can't run out of beads.
Volunteers spend their time helping package the beads one by one. Abby not only wears the beads proudly, but she also spends some time helping send joy through beads to others.
It's cool to show your friends about all the different beads so they can look at it, so they can see what you did and all that stuff.
And even though Abby received her Purple Heart, meaning she's finished her cancer treatments, she wants others to be a part of Beads of Courage. just as much as she's been.
You can ask your nurse, your social worker, or your child life, or if the Beads of Courage people come in.
A Marcos de Niza football player is making strides to make history.
Coming up on Cronkite News, the goal this player is making to change the game.
The confidence to lead our country.
This isn't reality television.
I feel like Hamilton reached out from history and wouldn't let me go until I told his story.
I make no apology for my actions. I would do the same again.
How we come so far and yet have so far to go.
Right there, coming up.
In 1920s Melbourne,
Careful with the hand luggage. My pistol's in there somewhere and it may still be loaded.
Phryne Fisher is a detective.
Things could get interesting around here.
Thought they already were.
Who isn't afraid to live a little.
I hope you're not concealing a dangerous weapon under that skirt.
I'm concealing a lot of things. Why do you think you can just run off on your own? Because I'm carrying a gun.
The irresistible series, Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries.
Saturday night at 10 on Arizona PBS.
Chicago-based businesses in the Valley are reaping the benefits of the Cubs in the World Series for the first time in 71 years. Most restaurants have seen sold-out crowds throughout the team's postseason run. Reporter Giselle Cancio spoke to some of the businesses to learn how they're making Phoenix feel like Wrigley.
With the World Series tied at 1 game apiece, the Cubs return home to try to move closer to rewriting history. But Wrigley Field isn't the only place that will be overflowing with Cubs fans this weekend. Cubby Blue runs deep nearly 2,000 miles away here in the desert. Not surprising, considering Arizona was the top out-of-state relocation destination for Chicagoans from 2009 to 2013, according to Crane's Chicago Business.
Even when there's no baseball going on, people are coming in their jerseys just because they want us to know they're from Chicago.
And at Half Moon Windy City Sports Grill in Phoenix, it goes beyond fans just meeting up to watch America's pastime.
We get together, we sing the 7th inning stretch, we sing Go Cubs Go, we fly the W. We do all those things that everybody expects from back home. I've got $2 Old Style in a can every day, so you feel like you're back at Wrigley.
It's more than restaurants that are seeing an impact with the Cubs in the World Series. Sports merchandise stores like Flag World have had a tremendous sales increase in Cubs gear, including this Fly the W flag for its rich tradition at Wrigley Field.
We hope everybody carries one so it'll carry the Cubs through a World Series victory.
Even Chicago hot dog haven Portillo's has doubled its staff to process the larger than normal amount of takeout orders coming in on game days.
The biggest thing is that people come in here before the game starts and they'll take some takeout, so the entire family is eating Chicago Portillo's hot dogs.
Whether it's a deep dish pizza or an authentic Vienna beef hot dog, Chicago transplants are coming out in droves for a taste of home as they hope to witness the North Side team break a 108-year drought. In Phoenix, Giselle Cancio, Cronkite News.
A big high school rivalry is on the football field. It's set for this weekend as Marco de Niza takes on Tempe. And under the Friday night lights will be 17-year-old Kristen Muir. Reporter Blair McElroy found out how Kristen is taking on a very male-dominated world.
Marcos de Niza senior Kristen Muir isn't afraid to stand her ground on a male-dominated field. She's even got a personal foul to prove it.
I didn't want to show like, oh, I'm gonna let you guys hit me and me not do anything back. I was like, you can't do that.
The 17-year-old is the place kicker for the Marcos de Niza varsity football team. She is one of 5 female varsity football players in the state of Arizona. Muir made history last year, becoming the first girl in Arizona to play in a state championship football game. She finished the season with a total of 67 points and a 92% accuracy rate.
First, it was kind of hard for people to like take in, and they thought I was just out there just to be cute and stuff, or like to get the guys' numbers, which I could do that off the field.
During halftime at the Marcos de Niza versus Cactus Shadows game, Muir traded in her helmet for a crown when she was named Homecoming Queen.
Mir's love for the game extends way beyond her 2 seasons of playing. Dad Jeremy Mir, who is an assistant coach at Marcos de Niza, began coaching when she was just a child.
She was 4, she started out as a water girl, so she's always been around it.
I used to blow the whistle all the time with the guys, and they would hate it.
Coach Mir has learned to balance being a coach while also being a dad at home.
When she first decided that she wanted to come out saying, you know, you're not going to get any special treatment, you're not going to get the job just because you're my kid, you got to earn it, and you've got to make them respect you.
So, with graduation at the end of the school year, what's next for Kristen? According to Dad, it'll be whatever she goes after.
Once she sets her mind to something, she's all in.
I'm hardworking, and I'll keep going for what I want to do. I won't let anybody push me down or anything, because I'll show them that I can do it, and I'll get right back up.
So far this season, she scored 39 points in 9 games. In Tempe, Blair McElroy, Cronkite News.
If kicking doesn't work out, Kristen says she plans on becoming an athletic or personal trainer.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, we'll hear from the Maricopa County Recorder on a variety of election issues, and then Secretary of State Michelle Reagan will address those same issues from the state level. That's the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, we examine where things stand in key battleground states with less than 2 weeks before the election. That's Thursday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.